The Florida Gators have once again added to the 2026 recruiting class. Chancellor Campbell, you are a Florida Gator.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Sunday. It's a damn good Sunday when we get the shades out for a commit. The Florida Gators have added offensive tackle Chancellor Campbell to their 2026 recruiting class. And again, Chancellor Campbell is a player that we talked about a little bit earlier or a little bit later this past weekend. We had our preview show for all of the visits coming up, and Chancellor Campbell was a player that we said, hey, could commit at any time. Florida has been in the lead for him in this recruitment, and not unexpectedly, he committed to the Florida Gators. He is a 3-star everywhere, a 3-star on On3, 3-star on 24/7, ESPN, and Rivals. On On3, he's the 33rd offensive tackle. 24/7, he's the 37th offensive tackle. ESPN, the 46th offensive tackle. And Rivals, the 65th offensive tackle. And there's going to be people, like if you're someone who goes on social media much or often, then you're going to see, I see you all in the chat. I love you all. We'll get to you in a minute. But if you're someone who's on social media, you're going to see that it's like, oh, 3-star, let's troll. And an easy response for the trolls, by the way, idiots, is that his other official visits were set with Ohio State and Penn State. Chose Florida over Georgia, who was in it. I don't mean to be a jerk about things, but you could troll about the 3-star ranking all you want. I'm talking about a player who, first off, visited Miami earlier this spring, and second, has official visits set up with Ohio State and Penn State. Those are two damn good programs at developing offensive tackles, and that is one of the things that we spoke about on, I think it was Friday's show. We spoke about the visits coming in, and one of the things I mentioned was that for Ohio State and Penn State, they're going to be able to say, well, hey, we develop offensive tackles better. Because they can say that. Like they've earned that. And until Florida does it, they get to keep saying that because Florida, of course, has gotten quite a few interior offensive linemen to the league consistently. Just not necessarily so much offensive tackles to this point. But Chancellor Campbell, 6'8", 310 out of St. Pete. He's a tank, right? That's like that's the best way to describe him. He's just a tank. Again, 6'8", 310. That's the Florida mold at offensive tackle right now. They're looking for these really tall guys, just big dudes that can pummel people and just wreck defenders. Because again, you're facing SEC defenders, which many SEC defenders, NFL defenders. And so you're going to be going up against these big dudes. You've got to be able to hang and bang with everybody. And Chancellor Campbell can do that. And again, Florida had been leading in this recruitment. Florida had been trending upward for a long while here. And I do think that Chancellor Campbell is someone who's going to need quite a bit of work. I will say, and again, that's not a knock on anybody. If you're new here, welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, review, all that. If you're not new here, then you know my take on offensive linemen is that I don't want them playing early at all. Q, you put the second sunglass emoji, and I do think that Florida is going to get a second sunglass emoji today. I don't know if it's happened. I'm trying to pull up my phone right now, but I'm absolutely butchering my passcode. And with the shades on, it's not popping up as face scan there. But Florida is making a ton of progress with this recruiting class, and they will continue to do so. But my take on offensive linemen generally is I don't want true freshman offensive linemen playing. So, yeah, I think Chancellor Campbell needs quite a bit of work. That's fine with me. I don't want young guys playing in this spot, in this position. Like, the longer you take to develop, the better. Genuinely. I think that's one thing we've seen just go horribly by the wayside is offensive line development. Not Florida, just in football in general. I cover the NFL as well with the New York Giants, and we're constantly talking about how there's no depth in the NFL because there's not any recruitment, there's not any development there. And for Chancellor Campbell, I think he's got all the athletic traits. I think that the only way they view him is a tackle, right? I don't think that Florida doesn't seem to be the type to go, hey, we're going to take this 6'8" guy and play him at guard, which is a thing that you're seeing NFL teams start to do a bit, with Mekhi Becton and Evan Neal. They're both offensive tackles. They move to guard. I don't think you see that with Chancellor Campbell or Florida right now. And also, Chancellor Campbell has been very open about not necessarily caring if he plays early. He's not. He said that it's not really an important thing for him to play early, that he cares more about the actual development there. And so I'm fine with bringing in guys that are, again, lower ranked, which I've said before, I've never cared less about recruiting rankings. But also when your other schools recruiting you are Georgia, Penn State, and Ohio State, I really don't give a damn about what your recruiting ranking is. Because I think, is there anything I was like, I'm not getting paid $10 million to do this. People that run the recruiting sites aren't getting paid $10 million to do this. You know who is getting paid $10 million to do this? The head coaches of these programs that are recruiting these players. If the guys that are making 8 figures to do this want you, hell, so do I. It's honestly as simple as that. I've had my opinion of players. We will get to, I think, Tuesday's show, either Tuesday or Wednesday, we'll probably do another scouting report episode, assuming that the second kid I'm expecting to commit tonight does commit. I'm not going to say who. I don't like to even hint at spoiling a commitment, so I don't like to do that. Some of you in the Insider program have correctly guessed who the other one is, or who the other one I was referring to is. But yeah, I don't like to even hint at spoiling a kid's commitment there, especially publicly. But I will say that Florida making waves with this 2026 recruiting class now. Like genuinely, I'm not one to be like, oh yeah, let's ride the hype train. I'm not one to sunshine pump. But Florida's recruiting class for 2026 picking up. And again, I don't give a damn about your 3-star ranking. I've seen these sites be dead wrong over and over and over again. And I'll take the coach's opinions over that every single time. We are going to get to the chat in the second half of this live episode of Locked On Gators when we get back with Locked On Gators. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all of my money go? Well, between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's pretty easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, and all of your spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building your wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. Also, the only place you're getting live coverage like this with commits is Locked On Gators. So go ahead, subscribe, like, comment, review, do whatever it is you want to do. But as always, we try to go live for all these if possible. I've said before, during June, I'm keeping my Sundays as clear as possible, especially my Sundays. But I'm trying to keep every day as clear as possible so that I can go live with any of these commits. But the Florida Gators have added Chancellor Campbell to their 2026 recruiting class. And I'm going to try to pull up the rankings right now. We'll see if they've actually, updated. I know last week when we talked about this, it took quite some time. 24/7 has not yet updated their 2026 rankings for the recruiting class, for the team rankings, at least here. And we'll go to pull up the On3 ones now, because again, Florida has now landed another commitment in this class. They're building, right? This is a month or so ago. It was one commit and everybody was getting their trolls off and everybody was doing whatever they want to do. And right now in On3, Florida's 35th overall with their recruiting class. And if I'm not mistaken, that is including Chancellor Campbell, who is, by the way, now the second offensive lineman to commit to Florida in the past, 10 days? Actually, a week ago, Janari Carr committed. So Chancellor Campbell is now the second offensive tackle to commit, or second offensive lineman to commit. He is ranked slightly higher than Janari Carr on On3 and on 24/7. So he's got the bit of the leg up there. But we got, I love you in the chat. I just want to throw that out there. We got Duval T. What's up? Another one. Always love being able to catch one of your live streams. Appreciate you, CAG. That's what I'm going to call you. It's just a long name to repeat, so I'm going to call you CAG. Or if you have something else you prefer I call you, just let me know, and I'll try to remember that as best I can. Happy Sunday, T. Ryan Tooper is here, baby. Finally made the first live show in forever. It's great to be back. It damn sure is great to be back. Love celebrating these. And again, hopefully we'll have another one tonight. I am expecting, I'll say that, I'm expecting another one tonight to go live. And then tomorrow we'll talk about these two commitments, anything else coming from this past weekend. Brian Smith, our recruiting insider, put out his rankings list for the top 12 recruiting coaches in all of college football. And I don't know what day this week we're going to do it, but I'm going to let you know this now. I'm going to eviscerate that thing. I just want to throw that out. I'm going to eviscerate that thing. I can't wait for it. We got Mike Nix. What's up? You seem new here, Mike. Welcome. I'd like to try to appreciate everybody, right? Can't wait to see the rushing attack this year. Yeah, no, it's going to be hopefully really good. Looking forward to this offensive line. I think they've taken some strides, and we could expect some more there. If I had a choice, I'd rather get a 2 or 3 star that practices like a 5-star instead of a 5-star that practices like a 2 or 3 star. I mean, yeah, right? Because my take generally with all these high school kids is that even if there's someone who is fairly technically refined for, and Q said like and subscribe time now. Yes, it is like and subscribe time now. But generally, even with a high school kid that is more technically refined, there's still usually a lot of room to grow for these kids. I know with the NFL draft, we talk about some players and we're like, all right, well, he's not going to develop much more. That's not really the case with high school to college. All of these players can develop a lot. So the people that work harder, the people that work their ass off are more likely to take those next steps and develop and grow. So yeah, same. I'll take someone who practices like a 5-star. Generally, I think of it as like, hey, 5-star means you're a great athlete. Doesn't mean much more at this point. That's just how rankings seem to work out. And that you go to their stupid little camps so that they give you a ratings bump. Of course. We got Q here, Drake here. We got Thomas here. Oh, we got it. Everybody came through for the Sunday live show for Chancellor Campbell. This is fun. Jeff Driscoll is a 5-star QB recruit. Yep. I will say Jeff Driscoll is someone that I'll die for. I don't care. Just the way he handled the benching, like on the sideline, like I'd die for him there. CAG's fine. There we go. We got I don't know how to pronounce that. Clavier Spieler. We got you here. Kenny Roberts is in here. For the sunglasses, we got him. Everyone's, yeah, Ryan, that's it. Like we got like the OG group for Locked On Gators. I think the only person not here is Josh Gardner, but considering where he lives, time-wise, makes a lot of sense. But this Florida Gators class, I'm telling you, and I'm not trying to be the sunshine pumping guy, but I am going to say that I think that by the time July 5th wraps up, this class, which right now is at 5 people, and again, a month ago is at one person. I think by the time July 5th wraps up, we're going to be looking at mid-late teens, genuinely. Like, I think this is going to be a huge next month of recruiting for the Florida Gators. A lot of kids have their recruitment dates set, and Florida has had quite a few of them change that recruitment date to commit to Florida. You know, Jadari Carr, Caden Hall, 2 examples there. And so Florida has done a great job of just hammering these recruitments, hammering this process, this cycle. And last year we had this conversation of, yeah, it's going to take a while, and then it took longer than I think we expected. This year, it's also going to take a while, but I think that now it's actually moving the rate that we were hoping it would move, where it's like, hey, June, you start to see some actual movement made with this class, where, again, publicly, you know, people can say what they want to say about the rankings publicly and the classes publicly, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of positive things going. And yeah, Roland, like you mentioned, Penn State, Ohio State, Miami, and Georgia wanted him. So upside is Campbell's game. That's it. He's 6'8", 310 playing offensive line. And my take, again, like I've said, is I don't want offensive linemen playing early. And that's usually because the way that I look at offensive linemen in high school is that a lot of them are just beating the crap out of people. Like they're not working with proper hand placement. They're not working with a proper base. They're just beating the crap out of people that they're better than and more athletic than. It's not so much a skill game in high school. It's beating the crap out of people in front of you. And so that's why with high school film, I've said before, it's tough to evaluate some high school players in the trenches specifically, because if you're just bigger than everybody else, then you're going to pummel them. But not so much in college. It's not about that. We've seen so many giant people kind of suck, right? And so it's not just about the size in college. It's about technical refinement and development. And Florida has genuinely done a pretty good job there. I'm not saying an awesome job. I will say that. I'm not going back on anything with the offensive line development. But I do think that Jonathan DeCoster has been a great part of this development plan. Whether it actually happens the way that people are expecting it to happen, whether the line actually plays the way people are expecting the line to play, is yet to be seen, of course. But the development plan is there. And we'll see if that actually comes to fruition here. We are going to wrap up here. Cag said, I know as fans will criticize players that screw up. I get it. Don't see much of a problem with it. It gets bad if we act like we can do better when 90% of us could. Yeah, no, hey, look, if anybody remembers the show Pros versus Joes, there have been a few NFL players that I had deals with that was like, hey, if you get drafted to any team near me, we'll link up in Pros versus Joes, whatever position you are. If it's a receiver, me trying to cover them, all that. Just because I do think that would be a pretty good indicator of how badly the average person would get beat. Because I'd get wrecked. There was an offensive lineman that got drafted in the first round that I had this deal with. And I thought it was going to happen. I thought we were actually going to get it. And it didn't happen. But if it had, I would have gotten pummeled and it would have been fine. Like I would have thought it was hilarious. But it's just people don't realize how hard this stuff is and the actual technical development that goes in there. And so, yeah, I think that's a big development part of this, trenches specifically. Big man will need time to lose that baby. That's the thing. I don't think 310's bad. At 6'8", like at 6'8", that's really not bad. And so I'm fine. Again, yeah, shape matters, not just the number. But like you mentioned, plenty of time for that. Like, there is so much time to develop and work and grow with this program and the strength and conditioning that they've been actually implementing, that Florida should be able to continue making some pretty big waves there. Where do I think he'll end it there? Or where do I think he will be at the end of his recruiting? Hopefully, I'll say like mid 4-star. We'll see. But again, I've never cared less about these recruitments. And Deshaun saying, think more coming this week. Put a percentage on it happening tonight. I hate doing that. I do. I hate doing that. I'm going to say within the next 24 hours. Can I say within the next 24 hours? 75% chance. Which I will say, there is, I do have a prior thing for tomorrow night. I will pre-record that player. That's how confident I am that player is going to commit within the next 24 hours, which, again, hopefully if it happens very shortly, that'd be great. So hopefully that. But thank you all so much for tuning into this bonus episode. I was going to say impromptu, but like, I don't know if it's impromptu. If a kid commits, that's the expectation at this point, right? Thank you all so much for tuning into Locked On Gators. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. As always, for Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, review, or none of that. If you don't want to do any of that, don't do any of that. I just want it to be genuine, just want to throw that out there. But I will see you all next time, hopefully tonight.